All right, welcome back from that break, and we are glad you're still with us. Now, on today's discussion segment, I'm so excited about this as much as I'm a little bit scared or skeptical about the results. We have our topic, hidden poison on our plates. Consumers report test discover lead in cassava products. All right, so today we'll have this discussion. We're diving into this very sensitive and urgent to chips and snacks. It's almost on every family table. But recent reports reveal a hidden danger. Many cassava products may contain unsafe level of lead, a toxic metal that can silently damage our health, especially our children's. So today we're asking a big question: is our daily bread truly safe? Let's uncover the risks, the facts, the most importantly, how we can protect our families. Now, Consumer Reports tested 27 cassava-based food, flours, chips, bread, and as two-third had lead in a single serving at a level higher than experts recommend for a day. Because cassava is a root crop that can concentrate soil contaminants, and because processing can further concentrate lead, this is a potential public health problem for families who rely on cassava staples. Now, lead exposure, especially in young children and pregnant women, has no safe threshold as effect on human children. Now, lead is most dangerous for kids. It can slow brain growth, reduce IQ, cause learning problems, make them hyperactive, and affect their behavior. Once it damages the brain, the harm can't be fully undone. For pregnant women, we know that lead can pass from mother to baby, leading to premature birth, low birth weight, and developmental delay in child. And for adults, of course, it causes high blood pressure, kidney problems, headache, tiredness, mood changes, and memory issues. There is no safe level. Even small amounts over time can build up and cause problems. And looking at animals, for animals, we know that farm animals, goats, cows, chicken, exposed to lead through contaminated feed or soil can sick, lose weight, stop producing wool, or even die. When animals eat contaminated plant or water, the lead can stay in their meat, milk, or egg, and human eating those can also get exposed. Now, why is this a big problem? It's a big problem because it hides. You can't see it, you can test it or smell it. Lead in food or water, it builds up. Lead does not leave the body quickly. Small exposure add up to over months or years, and it harms silently. People may not really know that they are being poisoned until serious damage is done. Now, this is the bottom line. Now, lead is a toxin. It harms brain, the blood, the kidney, and even unborn babies. It's dangerous for both humans and animals. And safest level is actually the zero level. Now, this is really, really alarming. The level of lead found in cassava products. And we know that this is not something that will just penetrate into the cassava. It's something that starts from the roots level. Now, lead is more of a toxin, is a metal that can be found from batteries, paint, and other things. And when not properly disposed or yes, it gets into the soil, and from the soil, our food can get contaminated, especially root crops. And for this research, according to the Consumer Reports test, it showed that over or about 27 cassava products were tested, and they had high level of lead that our experts an expert said you shouldn't consume. What do you think? That is really alarming, and that is really heartbreaking. It's
I
not just
think
scary.
starting out first, it's hard to wrenching that lead is something that exists among us. First of all, You mentioned it is a metal, which is right. But more than just growing from the soil, it comes from even the water, even the air,
Yes.
as long as comes in contact with the food. And so you see that for a food like cassava, which is a root tuber rather, it gets in from the soil
Yeah.
and then
Gets
grows
into
out
the
and
food.
affects you. But it's important to point out that this report was carried out in the US. It's a consumer report from the US. And so the big question is, do we have bodies like this in Nigeria or other African countries that can really carry out checks like this across our food systems? This report came, and we've been eating cassava in Nigeria and in other African countries as a staple food.
Like that's the most common.
That's the most
Yeah.
common thing. And then we are having a report in US. So this is going to arouse something in the minds of consumers in Nigeria and other African countries. They'll start questioning, what are we doing around our food systems? Doesn't NAFDAC have the capacity to carry out tests like this to ensure that we are not having to deal with lead or other things that are even worse, or things that are close to what lead is doing? Because it's very pathetic how we have big organizations and we're not getting research outputs like this. Things like this informs you, keeps you armed, and helps you understand where you stand. So you know, am I ready to eat this? Am I ready to risk this? What should I do to be safe? And so this is also a call out to NAFDAC, SON, and relevant health bodies.
Yeah,
Can we have
responsible
reports
for
like this from time to time? What checks are we doing on the kind of foods we consume?
Exactly.
The other day, the NAFDAC DG was talking about labeling on foods. But the truth is, if you go to the local
People
markets,
can
and apart from the fact that we know how many fake factories have been busted by NAFDAC,
Yeah.
that is even for things that are even packaged. How much more?
Things that
Yesterday, we
are
were
not.
just talking about how people use detergent to soak fufu, what we traditionally call fufu.
Yeah. And you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't
It's
know.
not packaged. It's a process of.
We mentioned how people even use sniper to preserve things like beans.
Yes.
So these ones may not have lead, but look at the kind of things that they have.
I strongly believe that Nigeria should really come up. This is a non-profit organization that in their goodwill and without collecting any form of monetization, right? There's no monetization to it. They do such research and analysis to bring up this kind of results to show that there are certain food right now that should not be consumed. These food are red flags, shouldn't be consumed, and they are food that actually contains a percentage of lead, but you're likely to consume them. Though the research also said that consuming lead cannot, as much as no level is safe, but then you can consume, but not frequently, once in a while. But how many of us will consume cassava products once in a while? This is something that we eat virtually every day. It's like everything we do, everything we eat has a product of cassava product in it. So we are really hoping that we have something like this, and the bodies in charge of regulation of food, what consumers actually take in, should see into this kind of research and ensure that something like this is also done, where we are now sure we have this peace and assurance about the things we take in, because health is life, they say. So if we do not have the health, certainly we do not have the life. So we are pleading out to the NAFDAC, the SON, to have something like this, or probably a group of bodies just come together to, put in something like this. There was something we had a discussion on one of the episode on iDEA Morning Digest, where we were talking about how individuals came together and taking up the health sector, the responsibility about health, especially in rural areas. This is together with the government. Now, this is just a group of people or persons coming together to do this. Okay, we are concerned about health. We're concerned about rural areas. We're concerned that up till date, malaria is still like the highest ailment for people, with the rich and the poor. And they are coming together to do this. We feel that a body or bodies too can also come together to ensure that what Nigerians consume is actually safe for their health. It's actually something that wouldn't harm us in the future, because I believe that whatever we eat now, gradually it keeps piling and it keeps piling, and someone will just get to the age and you just wonder, okay, how did I get cancer? Where did it start from? How did I get kidney problem? Where did it start from? And we know that this can be as a result of what we consume.
I totally agree with you. You see, when you mentioned kidney problem, I came across a report online from a source I cannot recall right now. I'm trying, if I remember the source, I'll mention in the course of the program. But the person mentioned that in the particular hospital where he works, he could recount the number of kidney cases, people who are coming for kidney transplants, dialysis, coming for kidney checks. And the age range you mentioned was between 21 and 35.
That's
young people. Something is really happening in Nigeria, and I think there should be an avenue for organizations like you mentioned to come together. If it's collaboration that will make this work.
Yes,
we have some research facilities in this country that may not really be even working, and sometimes when you have interviews with them, they say, oh, we're not getting the support we need from the government, we're not getting the funding. And so for things that are very silent like this, the government needs to step in. If it is funding that's a problem, provide it. If they need to do an exchange or something, let those things happen. Because health, you cannot build a nation that has the health of the people that you're leading in jeopardy. You want to be sure that whoever you're leading are healthy and hearty. I do not see how young people are recently just having cancer, having kidney. It has to be in the food. It has to be in the things you're consuming. It has to be in a lot
knowing that these things are the old people sicknesses. But now you don't see a young person having cancer,
hypertension, having a lot of things, and you're wondering, because sometimes these are people who are barely surviving, so they just eat the basic things. So they're not checking if the beans was, preserved with sniper. They're not checking what kind of pesticides were used in the farms. And that's why I also recommend that even for the soils, can we also have things that are very accessible to even the rural farmers, things that can allow them,
test
the soil. What is happening around that soil? Is it safe enough to plant things that people can eat? Because the truth is, we have some of these places where they have abandoned batteries just dumped around. We have abandoned tires, and then after a long while, these things gets, they dissolve and the soil absorbs a lot of it, and it becomes toxic to the health through the crops that are grown on that farm or on that land. So if we are able to have, I know that they do, soil tests on a big level, on a bigger scale. But I'm talking about coming up with something very innovative for local farmers so that they can check. Because I see a lot of local farmers and all they have is just their hoe, the shovel, and, the little things that they can just use to get by. But they don't know how is that soil. The only way they know that their soil is not good is maybe the plants and then the yield is not looking good, is not full. And for them, they'll start saying, oh, maybe it's because I did not pour fertilizer, or it's because there's no water. They start blaming a lot of things, but that may not even be the issue all the time. It may just be that lead has affected that soil. But I don't know if that's a very big issue right now in Nigeria, but we can only be sure if a body in Nigeria carries out such tests, because this is coming from US. So we want to also know what is happening in cassava in Nigeria.
Now, the research also showed why cassava is actually at risk, because, cassava is not just the only root tuber we have. Cassava is root, is tuber. It grows in direct contact with the soil, and heavy metal present in the soil, either natural or probably due to pollution like old batteries, mining, pesticides. and industrial emission are observed into the roots. Now, processing or drying or milling can concentrate this contaminated things per unit weight. And according to the health consequences, either short or long term, no safe blood lead level can be identified, and even low blood lead levels like the CDC reference lowered recently are associated with the reduced IQ, attention deficits, and poorer academic outcome. It also affects the effects are most severe and often irreversible in fetus and young children. Now, quantitatively, public health guidance used interim references like to level up the judge concerns. The FDA's food exposure IRLs are 3 for children and other measures. So this is really alarming because I feel like the lives of children are really at stake. We know that children is a hope for the future. Children are, a hope for our future for tomorrow. And if something like this is affecting them, and it's something that we should really, really pay attention to, just as they have paid attention to and conducted this research and are letting the public know that lead, no matter the level found in a food or item or product, can never be safe. You just imagine your child just becoming very hyperactive, or the IQ level has reduced, and what we call the child just becomes very dull, and you pay just a lot in schools and nothing is forthcoming. And we keep blaming teachers. Teachers are not doing what they ought to do, not knowing that this is as a result of what you have been feeding your child. And it's something that we need to pay so much attention to. And we are also crying out to the regulatory context, like the WHO and the CDC, to also emphasize that no safe level and urge prevention and surveillance. So they should really look into this, knowing that no level is actually safe for lead.
When you mentioned children being very vulnerable, I also remember that even pregnant women are also very in a vulnerable state when it comes to this kind of things. And so for now that we cannot say for sure how our region is doing in terms of this kind of thing, I like to say that we can diversify our means. I mean, try to eat more things, try to eat more vegetables, try to eat diverse food. Don't just rely on one source of food. And it's even, I mean, for balanced diet's sake, not just about this. Because I'm sure that some people who are watching us will be saying, hey, should I go and pour my gari? No, don't pour your gari. We are just saying that it's good to have your eyes now more, on the ground around the things that you consume. If there's like a recall notice in your region about the things that you shouldn't take, listen. What is NAFDAC saying about certain things? Listen. Do not just shrug them off. Do not say, oh, food na food. No, don't say that. And don't also say, there's this particular one, they say, oh, germs don't kill African men.
Yes, like I've heard that several times.
Germs don't kill. When you're from Africa, you can eat anything. Be very vigilant, be very careful about the kind of things that you let into your body, into your system. Because the truth is, it is very hard, especially for a country like Nigeria, where we are yet to have a report like this, to know what is really safe and what is not safe. I mean, when you go to the markets, I even hear now that even down to meat, they use pesticides to preserve them. Before we just used to think that when people do not finish selling their meat for today, they have it in the refrigerator. Yeah. But now, or they take it to the cold room, but now people now use pesticides. So somebody was saying, when you go to buy meat, ensure that there are a lot of flies around. And I mean, we grew up knowing that flies around foods are not healthy. So you can see that there's a whole lot of, information out there. So what you want to do is consult with your, your doctor, consult with your dietitian or nutritionist about the kind of things that you need to eat. And by all means, I know that especially now, with the way things are going, the purchasing power is very low. So people want to be very careful about what they eat, about how they manage their resources. They want to get the best with the less. So it is very pertinent that you're very, observant. You're more interested in eating things that are healthy. I'm a fan of fruit. I love fruit very much. But then when I heard that down to even fruits. People use, what do they call it, cabai, to make fruits
So
get ripe very fast. It broke my heart. And I keep wondering, these are humans. Why do you want to make your gain at the expense of people's lives? And then when you have issues of young people reporting for kidney failure or, cats issues or nervous system issues, you're just wondering, where is it coming from? It all comes from the little things that we do. For you, it might just be about making that gain instantly, but you have no idea how many lives will be damaged as a result of that single action. So for you who is just a consumer, this is for you to, be very careful and wary of the things you eat. Ensure that you're buying from a trusted person.
Yeah.
Even the cassava, do not wait for the reports. The flour, the chips, the tapioca, all of those things that we get from cassava. Ensure that whoever you're getting it from, very trusted people, people you can count on. You can say, okay, yes, I'm sure this is it. And if it's possible, you can grow your own cassava. I mean, we encourage people
How
to
do you,
go
how do you
into
test the soil where you want to plant?
now. So let's say I already know that there's nothing like batches around here. I'm using now my physical eyes. I know how this land has been.
Years before you moved in.
Well, I cannot say that, but there are some lands that you just know that,
Yeah,
okay,
this looks good and
not
safe.
just looks good, probably your grandfather's land, and you know that they've been farming from all the while, and you've seen the harvest. So you can just say that, okay, this one is good enough. And I'm saying this for those who do not have those things to test the soil. So you can just use your number 6 to say, okay, this one is fair enough. But then when you start harvesting things and you see, funny looking tubers, please, it's good to understand. Let us be careful about what we let into our system.
Always put our health first
Yeah.
and not necessarily our tummy or profits.
When you're hungry, you never think about your health. So let's
Yes.
even be serious, because when you're hungry, the first thing you're thinking of,
Anything,
anything, let me
whatever,
eat.
just whatever you have, just let me eat. And then, just as you've rightly said, something we should also do is to ensure we eat food that are rich in calcium, food that are rich in iron and vitamin C. As she mentioned, fruits. Take a lot of fruits. All of this calcium, iron, it has a way of reducing lead absorption into our body. Milk, and beans, and obviously we mentioned citrus. So we encourage balanced diets. Ensure you have balanced diets, because it will boost your immune system in such a way that peradventure you eat a product or a food item that contains a level of lead. You know that your immune system can fight against it, and you would still be healthy. And so we advise a balanced diet. Then also, just as she rightly said, check the brand. Don't just buy from anywhere. As much as we want to really patronize small scale businesses, the SMS, but we need to be sure of what they are doing, because we are talking about our health here. And so we ought to be very sure. Buy from a trusted brand. And then also avoid dust, avoid soil injection, wash your roots vegetables thoroughly, and then keep children from playing in the bar close to the soil or probably close to a very busy road. We know that this is not just about plants. Lead cannot just be found only in plants alone, but also in water, in air. So avoid things like this just to keep our body safe for the future. And we also, what producers and millers or regulators should do is that they should source testing and traceability, test the soil and cassava roots at farm level. We don't know how this will be done, but we want to believe that there will be a structure, a body that would be able to test cassava roots at farm levels, and then maybe map suppliers' risks also. And then also, from processing controllers, the mill houses should implement good manufacturing practices and avoid contamination from equipment and even dry or rusty equipment. There's some equipment that are really rusty, and from that rust we have metal, and from that metal there can be a level of lead in it. So we are appealing to producers, we're appealing to regulators to really look into this. And then third-party lab testing and labeling. Producers should publish test results and get third-party certification, not just assumption or assuming, okay, I did this myself, I was very neat and I was very careful, and I know what and what I added to this, but there are certain things our natural or physical eyes cannot really see. And having a third party see this or set a third party certification would also really help.
Okay, I feel like you're, hitting all the major key takeaways, but I'd just like to mention that regulatory bodies need to really step up. And when I say step up, I mean that even when I say regulatory body, whether in the agro sector, whether it's NAFTA, whether it's SON, even research
General,
bodies,
yes.
as long as what you're going to help us fix this problem, please step up. Do not just wait for things to get out of hand first before taking the right action. I would really be happy if we are able to identify contaminated fields. If we have agro experts who teach farmers, organize training for local farmers, whether in the rural or urban areas, trainings or workshops that can sensitize farmers on how to identify contaminated fields. I think that way we can be sure that people are saving themselves from harm. So if you're into agriculture or if you're an agro expert, you have this knowledge, please don't hoard it, don't gatekeep, share with somebody, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell those people around you who are into farming, if you know. But on a larger scale, I think the government has to step in as well. And the way we are pushing for tech now, the way we are, advancing tech even in rural communities, even in our health sector, in the educational sector, we see what's happening with, now we are talking having WAEC and NECO as CBT.
Yeah.
So with that kind of urge and push, people have to be healthy to write their exams. So let us think of how we can train the students if they want studying it in school. So it's not just, you're not just an agro student, you're not just studying agriculture for the love of it or just because you want to get certification. We have to be more intentional that whoever is coming out of that school is ready to, bring practical knowledge to the world. And so we need that practicality shown when it comes to identifying fields that are contaminated. I'm very sure that there are many farmers who have genuine heart, genuine intention. They don't mean to harm anybody, and they're not interested in making gains the wrong way. All they want to do is just farm. But they don't know how to identify the fields that are safe. They just keep wondering how, they plant today and it's not yielding properly or it's, abnormal. Sometimes it's even too good to be true. I've seen some cassava tubers that are like bigger than
So
yam,
big.
so big. You're wondering, are you sure? On the same farm, you're seeing another one that's so tiny. And sometimes I wonder, maybe the water did not get to that area. It might not even be the case. With all of this research and discovery, it might not even be the case. That land might be reacting to something that you don't know. But with the right knowledge and the right sensitization, we can, get our hands on it.
Yeah, so this will be my key takeaway. There is no safe level of lead. So the worry is cumulative exposure. Even small daily doses over time can lower a child's IQ and attention span. So we must act. And also consumers should diversify staples and choose reputable brands, just like I said earlier. And if you are worried, just check product labels, report suspicious products to NAFDAC, and prioritize diets higher in calcium and iron to reduce the absorption risks. And this is what I would have to say. But then we have just scratched the surface of this topic about lead poisoning. But then on our program, a program titled EcoView, would have an expert who would give detailed explanation about this, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what to avoid, how to test the soil, and how to know that there is a percentage of lead in a particular farm or in a particular soil. So please stay with us. We would give more details to this in our program, the EcoView program.
You heard a miracle. Just keep your fingers crossed, because EcoView will do even justice. We are bringing in an expert who will talk about
Exactly.
lead, break it down very well, because we are speaking as journalists who should know something about everything.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So it's just like saying, oh, a journalist diagnosing somebody of cancer. I mean, you
Amazing.
just know what cancer is, what cancer can do, but it will take a doctor, specializing in that field
Yeah.
to break
really,
it down very
exactly.
well. And that's what we want to do. So this is us just introducing and telling you, what the report says, the U.S. Consumer Report says, but trust us to bring you up to speed with the rest as it unfolds. I guess until we come your way next time, do well to stay connected to us across our social media platforms. iDEA TV Media News is coming up by 12 o'clock. Don't miss it for anything. Don't go anywhere. Well, okay, don't go anywhere, away from iDEA TV. Until we come your way next time, have a good day.
Yeah, keep winning and keep your health at top level.
Yeah.